Okay, welcome to Fortunes and Freedom. This is the second episode that we've got going on here. Y'all know me, Joe Pellegrino. I'm the CEO of J. Michael Strategies and the grand poobah of Fortunes and Freedom. I haven't really assigned any kind of titles for that yet. But today I have with me one of our employees over here at J. Michael, Aden Arwood. Aden came to us as an intern, and now he is like a powerhouse for our company. And we're super stoked to have him here.
I am stoked as well to be here and excited for the conversation.
Yeah, man. It's going to be a really good conversation. You know, Aden came to us, it was back in May. Yeah. And it's so funny. It was through an Indeed ad. And I remember it super clearly. So I was driving in my truck. Me and Andrew, we were driving back from a meeting over on the east coast of Florida. And I saw the notification come through, and I know I shouldn't have been looking at my phone while I was driving, but we were looking for somebody. And when the notification came up, and I looked through the resume, I handed Andrew my phone. I said, "Call this kid right now. Like we gotta get this kid on." And a couple days later, he came in for an interview, and the rest was history. You know,
yeah, I'm glad the resume paid off.
Yeah, the resume was great, man. You know, it's so funny. Like with resumes, everybody like focuses on making like this super formal, beautiful. Yeah. It doesn't matter. It matters what's on the resume. I don't care if you're proficient in Microsoft Word. I could not give two damns about that. I want to know what all you've done. I want to know what are the things that you can do that, you know, other people aren't doing. Another thing, just side note, I'm going to go down this rabbit hole with resumes. This is actually how we ended up hiring Jesus, our graphic designer. If you can make a resume that looks a little bit different than everybody else's, that's going to be a huge benefit.
Especially as the designer.
That's the thing. Like graphic designers that have like those sort of very cold, just black and white resumes.
Yeah, if you send that over and you're saying, I'm a graphic designer, been doing this for 4 years, but my resume looks like crap.
Right, exactly. I don't know, it just doesn't do it for me.
No.
But anyway, now that we've gone down that rabbit hole, so Aden, welcome to the show. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yep. So I applied here at J. Michael's as an intern, as he said, and now I'm kind of working in e-commerce and the Facebook ad side of things. So I'm 19, so I'm a bit young. People, everyone's surprised whenever I tell them of my age, just because of what I'm doing here, and I'm super grateful for that. But so I guess just to give a little bit of my backstory, 3 years ago when I was 16. My friend Johnny, we lived in Alaska at the time, he introduced me to this thing called dropshipping. And I was like, well, what the heck is this? He was showing me these YouTube videos of these guys like showing screenshots of their Shopify accounts with, $100,000 in a month within the first month of launching their business. I'm like, wow. And they were 20-year-olds, so I was like, I can do this too. I'm 16. That's not big of a difference.
Yeah.
So I just became obsessed with it. I was attracted to the money. My friend Johnny and I, we would just sit in class. We didn't care about the lessons or anything. We were just going away at drop shipping in the back of the corner and watching YouTube videos, taking notes, and then we'd go home and we'd work on our own businesses. And I would just like lock myself away in my room, working on drop shipping and e-commerce. And I ran into many failures, but those were really stepping stones for me to reach the successes. It was necessary. So
what was your first success? When did you really start to see some traction?
Yeah, so I started with Facebook ads at first, and I wasn't seeing much there. It was very complex to me at the time, and I just immediately realized I have to transition from that to something a lot more simpler. So I went to influencer ads. So I was contacting Instagram accounts, meme pages, personal influencers. And I was just contacting them to see if they could put an ad up for my product. And at the time, I had this product that I was selling. It was super weird. It's this like a Snuggie, pretty much. The thing with the arms.
Yeah, like the blanket thing.
Yeah. It was that, but it had a quilt texture to it, so it was very thick and very warm for the winter, and it was very interesting. So it was about Christmas time. I had this product. I needed to sell it, and I was contacting influencers. I was contacting anyone that was related to it. And I got pretty creative here, and I was talking to you about this before, how it was really weird how it worked out. And it was weird because the marketing was just, it was so weird. So I'm trying to describe it here. It's like I had this product and I had this video content for it, and the only video content I had were was essentially, since it was made in China, it was manufactured and shipped from China. The people in the video were Chinese, and it was very obvious that it was kind of scammy with that. You know, if I was to put that on Instagram and it had these Chinese people wearing quilts and like, oh, buy this now for winter or for Christmas or whatever, it wouldn't work out like that. So I got a little bit creative, and I found these niche Instagram accounts, and it was these like, you know, these proud Asian Instagram accounts. And, you know, it's like, that's cool. That's awesome. I love that. But it's like, this is perfect. I got Asian people in my...
It's like Asian people here in the U.S.?
Yeah, exactly. So, like, it, you know, they have a lot of relatability. So, you know, like, they post memes and all that stuff. So they would, you know, relate to these. And it formed a lot of engagement in these accounts. There was, like, 7 to 10 of them that had above 500,000 followers.
Wow. So,
like, okay, we'll test this. I'll test some sort of angle appealing to, you know, these people. And I hope I'm not sounding racist while I'm explaining all this stuff. So,
no.
So like, I come up with this weird idea to say in the headline of my ad. It's like, wow, Asians made the Snuggie, but even better. Or why do Asians do everything better? Because it's just very weird. So this weird marketing plan came together. It ended up working. I don't know how. Looking back on it, it was just a weird way to market something. And, you know, Christmas morning, that's when I launched my first promo. I woke up, you know, checked my phone, and I was just getting Shopify sale notifications like every 30 seconds. And
That's
it was
nuts. On Christmas morning.
On Christmas morning, it was the biggest dopamine high ever. And my parents were like, "What the heck's going on? Our kid's, you know, making thousands of dollars while he opens up Christmas presents."
Yeah.
But it was
Guess
awesome.
You don't want the sweater in.
Yeah, exactly. And you know, that just grabbed me, and I was hooked from then on.
So I got to go back to the Asian story because that's really, really interesting. And
it's very
here's
interesting.
the thing: there's nothing racist at all about that. I mean, that's a demographic thing, and I think that just shows the creativity. Not that you have to. I mean, you have to have it, but like beyond that, it's like the creativity that like you can have with this, right? Like you can just like mess with this stuff and be like, you know what? I got a theory. I think that Asian Americans are going to be really into this because this is what I have, and boom, from there, that theory grows. You test the theory, and it just so happened that on Christmas morning, that theory got cleared.
And I've been trying to apply that to my marketing a lot more because then like I didn't know any better. I was just like, okay, we'll try out this idea. I didn't really care, you know. And I'm trying to bring that back into my marketing. It's like you said, you're just messing around, and I think that's when things tend to work out much better. That's what allows you to do unique things that no one else is doing.
And that's the key thing. I mean, every YouTube influencer, you know, on e-commerce and dropshipping, they're saying, you know, unique products that you know that sell. You know, you've sold some very interesting products. Products that I don't know if they necessarily equate to your personality.
No.
Like a lot of, you know, kitty cat products and stuff like that. Like, what's the deal with that? Like, what makes you choose the products that you choose?
Yeah, so kitty products, just to give a little context, he's talking about this bed I sold for cats. And I marketed it as essentially it helps reduce separation anxiety. And it ended up working really well, and it was awesome. I was selling it on Facebook ads, and it was kind of like my first consistent success.
This was Kitty Pouch, right?
Yes. And, you know, I kind of took a product that everyone was selling, and I just found a new way to market it. It was just about doing something unique, and I narrowed it down to a specific market, and that was cat owners who struggled with separation anxiety. And it's interesting because when I first tested the product, I didn't market it as that. I sort of marketed it as like, oh, cats are loving this new cat bed or something like that. And it didn't work out whatsoever. It was just very average results, no profit. So then I wonder if I can narrow it down here. Or I wonder if I can test a new angle. So I just duplicated the creative, or the the video ad, as you can call it that as well. And I just changed the copy in it to, this cat bed helps with separation anxiety. And boom, suddenly things started working. So it's just about that's when I learned in action, you have to do something different. You have to narrow down sometimes.
Well, there's so much noise out there, right?
Yes.
And there's so much stuff, and a lot of times with drop shipping, we're selling products that other people are also selling.
Yeah.
So how do you make yours stick out? How do you make yours the one that captures people's attention?
Yeah.
I think so many times, like even marketers, like they get sort of tunnel vision into, okay, so this is the product, these are the features, so that's really how I'm going to market it, but it's not about that. It's
No.
about finding the right angles. You always use the word angles, and I love that.
Yeah.
And that's really what it comes down to, is finding the right angles for those products. But even a step before that, let's take a step even before like marketing the product. How are you finding the product? How are you making a determination on which product to sell?
So when I'm looking at products, I just bring in a ton of ideas. I'm bringing in so I'll have like stage 1 of product research. And at this point, I'm bringing in like 10 different products or 20 different products that I can pick and choose from. And then I'll filter those down and filter out the ones that aren't going to work as well as other ones by looking at their data. I'll look at their margins. I'll look at their, just anything that points to this product working out better than others. I'm going to move that to the next stage.
Okay.
So I get to like the last stage where I'm left with like 3 products, and I keep in mind I'm not worried about whichever I'm not attached to any products. Like I'm not worried whichever one it is. I'm trying to detach myself from this process as much as possible and just think about the market. So I'll just basically look at these 3 and I'll say, okay, I'm at a point where I have to choose one. I have to take a risk, and I might pick one that's not as good as the other, but I just have to pick one. That's all that matters.
Yeah.
So I'll pick one, and then I'll go very in-depth on market research, see if this is the right product to do, and then that's when I decide to go on with it. And if it isn't based on the market research, then I'll take another product and bring it into market research.
So you're basically you're not necessarily selling products that you particularly like for yourself.
No, not right now.
Okay.
No. That's how I always done it. When I started out, I would just focus on what's already selling. And 99% of the time, it's nothing I care about.
Right.
Like I've gone from beauty products for women to pet products to just like sport products and everything. I've never really sold something that I truly am interested in, but that's definitely something I want to do in the future.
Yeah, for sure. If you can find if you can find something that's sort of in your interest pool that is selling, that you see a hole in the market in, and that's I think a lot of the sort of YouTube influencers out there that are spitting e-commerce and dropship expert tips and stuff like that. I think they are all saying obviously the right things in terms of finding the unique product, but I think a lot of times they make it seem so easy.
Yes, they do.
They make it seem like it's so straightforward, and so hey, just follow these simple steps, and you're going to get there. And there's truth to that, right? Those are the steps you follow, but that's not literally how it happens. A lot of times, those are typically those successes when they show those 7-digit numbers or those 6-digit numbers from a week's worth of sales in Shopify. Those are usually unicorns, to one degree or another.
And I mean, something even more is that I didn't realize this until recently, but a lot of those influencers or gurus on YouTube, they're only doing what they're doing. Like they're only trying to teach dropshipping because a lot of them just didn't get success in it themselves.
Yeah.
They gained the knowledge, they learned a little bit about marketing, but they just, like everyone goes through to get a profitable business going, they just kept testing and it didn't work out.
Yeah.
So they either gave up or they thought, hey, maybe I can just teach them since I know more about it now, and I can't get a business to work. So it's just about finding the right people, and I think the right person is someone who's transparent and is doing what you want to do.
Right. And another thing on that is some of them are wildly successful, but they're successful in, again, finding those unicorns. There's a difference between building a sustainable business through dropshipping and sort of building a business that's based on spikes and sort of those unicorn spikes, because you may get a product that's going to do really, really well for a month. It's going to make you $100,000 a month, and then it flops. Now listen, $100,000 a month sounds really, really good. If that's your ball game, go for it. But I think there really is. It's important for people to understand the difference between the spike game and building a consistent, sustainable, growable business out of dropship
There's
products.
A huge difference. Like you called it the spike game. I love that. If you participate in that kind of game of business, you're going to be stuck at that level forever until you decide to put in the work and put in the consistent testing to get a sustainable business that you can grow year after year after year. You're going to be stuck at that level, and it's not a good one, because when you're just selling unicorn products and you're just selling products, there's hundreds of other drop shippers or just like me, kids in their mom's basement selling this product, and you're just competing with at the bottom 10% of the bucket.
Yep.
It's just not worth it whatsoever. It's just way too much work for not enough results.
And even on that, with sort of way too much work, I think we made this point earlier. They make it seem so easy.
Yep.
And I think like younger guys like you that are just in it for, I mean, I have talked to many people, many people that have said, "Oh yeah, I tried drop shipping, couldn't really get into it." Right?
Really,
a lot of people. Wow. Yeah, well, because they're seeing that they can make $100,000 in a month.
Yep.
And then they're not.
Yeah. And
then they I think also a lot of people get really, especially younger people, get a little sketched out about, okay, I have to spend some money to make some money. A lot of 16-year-olds don't have $1,000 to test on Facebook and then lose. I mean, when I was 16, good Lord, $1,000 that was like life-changing money at that age. And it could have been life-changing in another direction, right, from an investment. But I think a lot of younger people, even young adults and even middle-aged people, it's a little scary to invest your money into something that you're just kind of like, I hope this works.
Yeah.
Right?
That's exactly what it is. You have to take the risk, and that's something I struggled with for so long. I remember my first Facebook ad campaign was literally only $5 a day. Like, I was, no matter what you're selling, that's not enough money for it to gather data.
Yeah.
And I was so scared to, spend more than $50 a day. But once I just kept spending more and more, you get more used to it. It's just about taking the necessary risks.
Talk to me a little bit about the data point, because I think this is something that a lot of people miss.
Yeah.
Right? You said I was spending $5 a day on Facebook. That wasn't even enough to gather data. No. What does that mean? What like if somebody was just coming into this world for the first time, what do you mean by gather data?
So data is everything in e-commerce. I mean, obviously not everything, but it's a huge portion of it. It's basically, data is everything from when a customer lands on your website to when they purchase your item. It's the pieces of metrics and data that the Facebook pixel captures and basically collects, and then it forms this algorithm based around that data that you can use to your advantage and get more sales. And in order for you to do anything, you really have to gather this data and then basically take action based on the data. So it's like when I was saying that $5 wasn't enough to gather data, it really wasn't for me to take action on, because I was only spending $5. I was getting like a few website visitors, and it wasn't enough to basically
apply as a rule. Like, those metrics didn't really mean much because they were kind of anomaly based on such a small budget.
Yeah, exactly. It's
if you got a sale, it was like, oh wow, but against a $5 ad spend, it's difficult. It's really difficult to sort of put that metric into perspective.
Yeah, I guess there is some nuance to it, because you could start at $5 a day, but it's just going to take many weeks for you to get enough data to make a good decision.
Yeah.
And that's what it's about. Data helps you get the good, it helps you make a good decision for your customers, because the data is what tells you what's working and what's not working. It's what tells you what your customers like and what they don't like. It's how you get them to buy ultimately, and it's about making those minor improvements or major improvements based off that data to increase your conversion rates, to get them to buy more, get the customer more likely to buy.
Well, the data makes it so that your risk is actually lowered.
Yeah.
Because you're making decisions based on fact. You have fact. You have this many impressions. This is what your click-through rate is. This is who's responding. This is the demographic. Now you can make decisions to optimize those campaigns and start isolating the ones that are actually doing well and sort of scraping away the ones that aren't doing well.
Exactly.
So you may still be spending the same amount of money, but you're spending it much more efficiently at that stage. And then you get into things like retargeting, which we won't even go into. But everything is so data based, and I think that is the key thing that so many people that are starting out in drop shipping and e-commerce, they miss that. They in a sense intentionally missed it. I mean, even when I kind of started messing around with it, it's not my specialty. This is Andrew's specialty. That's why I'm interviewing you. But even when I got started, I didn't look at it as creating a sustainable business. I looked at it as, how can I get into the spike game?
Yep.
And the problem with the spike game, especially if you're starting off, is that it is so volatile and it is so not guaranteed. Because it's something that could happen, right? You get a crazy spike on the right product, but all the work that goes into that, and there's so much more risk that way. Because what happens then when it doesn't spike?
Yeah.
But if you can take the time, the way that you're doing right now with Nurture Bed, which we'll get into, if you can take the time to build it in such a way that it will be sustainable, that it will be scalable and growable and in a predictable fashion, man, that to me that's the American dream right there. That's what it is in a nutshell. That's fortune and freedom, baby.
Yeah, exactly. And to be completely honest, it's so much easier to do it the long-term and sustainable way. You know, when you're launching business after business after business, the only the hardest part is the upfront work that goes into launching the business. So if you're just doing that on repeat, trying to find winners and they crash and burn, and then you try to find another winner, you're just doing the hard part over and over again. Yeah. But if you look at it from a long-term perspective and try to stand out from your competitors and sort of create your own blue ocean and your own sustainable business, then you can really only have to do the upfront work once.
Right.
And then everything from there is just about making micro improvements.
Yep. So one of the things that we're really big on with Fortune and Freedom is the idea of documenting the journey, right? Telling the story, the successes and the failures, and really kind of, in a sense, being held accountable by our audience. But I think that plotting the journey and documenting the journey alongside, listeners, whoever they may be, I think that's really where the true inspiration lies. To me, that's how you become successful, when you can see what's worked, what hasn't worked, what's been wildly successful, what's been detrimentally a failure. And so I want to kind of introduce, something that we're going to be documenting over the next several weeks and months, which is Aden's most recent e-commerce venture. And it's called Nurture Bed. This is another pet product. And basically, I'm going to let Aden sort of tell the story and sort of talk about why he chose this, what his process is, all that kind of stuff. But what I want to start off by saying is that, this journey is, we don't know what's going to happen. We have some really, really solid projections that lead us to want to continue investing in this. But we don't know. No. This could go down in flames in the next 3 months.
In my opinion, that's the best part. Doing it without any expectations. It makes it interesting. It makes it a new experience every day.
No expectations from that perspective. Projections. You got to have a plan. You got to have a strategy.
Yes.
But no full on expectations. The ability to be freed by the fact that if it fails, it fails.
Yeah, and I think the best way to do that is to ultimately focus on the process and enjoying it, enjoying the making the ads that get you the results you want, but you don't worry about the results.
Right.
You can have goals that sort of, I call them stretch goals. You can have goals that sort of stretch your beliefs, and they might seem unreasonable, but that's what you want. You want it to seem unreasonable so you can, you may not hit it, but at least you're going to hit right under it, and you would get a lot further doing that rather than hitting reasonable goals.
If you reach for the stars and you fall, at least you'll fall on top of the world.
Exactly.
It's a Pitbull line right there.
I love that.
Mr. Worldwide. That's funny. So let's talk a little bit about what Nurture Bed is.
Yeah, of course.
Tell us what the product is, and then tell us kind of starting from the beginning. How'd you find it? The whole thing.
Yeah. So I guess I hope there's no drop shipping copycatters listening to this right now, because I'm basically going to tell you what the product is. It's essentially this dog bed. It's your typical dog bed, but it's got fur on it, and basically we've leveraged that fur as an angle that fur helps relieve separation anxiety, and that's the main angle we have been doing since the initial test, and we are continuing to do. But it's been working out pretty well. We have tested it with both dogs and cats, and the dog owner market seems to respond a lot better. It has a better product market fit with them. But yeah, essentially we're just past the initial testing phase, and now we're testing to increase the profits we already have, and then we want to scale it vertically and basically make money from it.
Make some money.
Make some money and make some happy customers.
That's right. And so how is it that you came upon Nurture Bed? Because we started with a different pet product.
Yeah.
We originally started with the Bark Ops tactical military harness.
Yeah.
And what happened with that?
It was very mediocre results with what we were getting. We launched a test, and then we launched another test. I think we launched 3 in total, basically with the Facebook ads. And they kept getting mediocre results, and I wasn't exactly sure why. So I just wanted to move on to another project, and that next project was Nurture Bed. And then things started working out better. So we were just basically maintaining Bark Ops. It was like break even pretty much. While we were maintaining Bark Ops, we were very focused on Nurture Bed because it was getting better results. And then at some point, Bark Ops just dipped in results, and it wasn't really break even anymore. It was unprofitable, so we sort of let it go so we can focus on Nurture Bed more. And that's what it's about. It's about repping out, test and the process essentially until you figure it out. And you might have to let go of other businesses in the past, but who knows, maybe you can go back to them with new knowledge and new experience, and then you can scale those back up.
That's the thing. Bark Ops still exists, so we could always come back to it if we felt like we had a new angle or there was a new market for it or something like that. And I think, you like you said, like you kind of always have to be ready for that. So that's different though than pursuing the spike game.
No,
the spike game is more of looking for things that are going to be wildly successful and then expect them to flop pretty immediately.
Yeah.
Whereas this is more about like we're testing a bunch of stuff. The ones that don't work, we move on from. You can't get married to a product.
Exactly.
Until a certain point.
Yeah.
And I think at this stage we're not married to Nurture Bed, but we are definitely hard dating. Mm-hmm. Like we're talking to her father. Like we're deep in this. And that might change at some point based on results. Mm-hmm. But I think we're deep in this enough to a degree that a couple of days of bad numbers isn't going to throw us off.
No. I think the difference between the spike game we're talking about and what we did with Bark Ops is we did multiple tests after the first test and it not working out. Typically someone who's just starting out might say like, oh, I got to go on to the next product. It didn't work out. So, first test with Facebook ads didn't work out. Next product, first test with this next product, things didn't work out. So I'm on the next product. That's sort of the spike game. But with what we did, we tested, multiple times, 3 times in total. And at some point we had to move on. And, we might have been able to make it work, but I think it was best just to move on and do something new that's more interesting and, sort of reset.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I agree. We're really, really excited about Nurture Bed.
Yep.
We see a lot of potential for it. To be honest with you, it's such a testament to the idea of, selling product that you don't necessarily love. Mm-hmm. I'm not a big animal guy. And actually when we were doing the cat tests for Nurture Bed, I was just like, people were asking me, oh, what are you selling now? Like, oh, it's a freaking cat bed.
Yeah. It's not something.
It's not good for my image.
It's not something to necessarily be proud of, but at least you got the numbers.
Right. Exactly. What works is what works. And I mean, if it ends up being that, we're selling, some kind of sissy little girls product or something like that, then if that's what's making money, that's what's making people happy.
Yep.
Then I guess that's what we're going to sell.
Yeah.
But
you got to detach yourself from the equation.
Right.
Yeah, that's just that's the point we're at right now. But later down the line, we definitely will create a business. Obviously you're doing it right now with J. Michael and Fortunes and Freedoms, but we will create a business that we're proud of.
Absolutely.
I think it's this quote this guy said. He's like, yeah, right now I'm making drop shipping stores. I'm making e-commerce businesses selling, to cats and dogs, but later down the line, I'll be making a business that I can put in my Instagram bio and be proud of.
Right. Yeah, man. That's really, again, what all this is about. We're just, I want you to have what we have in the sense of, a business that you can be proud of, and obviously we want to help you along the way in that, and that's what this whole Fortunes and Freedom program is all about. I mentioned in the last episode, but just a quick recap: the Fortunes and Freedom program is a largely e-commerce program where we actually partner with our employees to build their own brand, their own store. We supply all the capital for it, and then we have a really what I think is very generous profit share at the other end of it. And to me, that's what's fun for us. Like that's what we love doing. Like Andrew and I were just talking about it this morning. We had a call this morning. Like this is like right now we're the closest we've ever been to doing exactly what we want to be doing, which is so awesome. Yeah, and I love that. You're going to talk with him a little bit later today, I think, and he's got some really, really cool ideas, and he's going to be getting a whole lot more involved in e-commerce stores and finally drumming up some of his own. But so there's a lot of really cool stuff here. There's a lot of cool stuff going on, And I hope that, you know, whoever's listening, whoever's watching, I hope that you can see through it our transparency, like Aden said. Like that, to me, is the most important thing. I think that you should go and you should listen to all those influencers that you're watching on YouTube right now, because that is fantastic inspiration. Those guys are going to get you hyped up with what could be. Mm-hmm. I think what I want you to come to us for is kind of what is.
Yeah.
What's reality, right? There's going to be successes, there's going to be failures, but at the end of the day, our successes are not measured in dollars. Our successes are measured in the freedom and the time that we can provide to our families. Mm-hmm. Aden's 19 years old. He's years out from having a family, right? But everything that he's doing right now is ultimately for that. Me, I got 2 kids at home. I got a beautiful wife, and everything that I do ultimately is so that I can be with them more, right? Mm-hmm. Money is a really great way to make that happen. That's why we call it fortunes and freedom, because the fortunes help with the freedom.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it's about the time that we can spend together, and the fact that I can leave as a business owner anytime I want to go hang out with my wife and kids. Mm-hmm. That's an incredible privilege that I have. And I feel like the word privilege has a negative connotation these days, which is friggin' ridiculous. But I think that is a privilege that I will own. I own that. That is a privilege that I have, and I am so grateful for it. I worked for it, and I continue to work for it.
Yeah.
And that's the key thing.
And I love that you said you continue to work for it, because we're going to be in this process till we die. We're going to be working on our business till we die.
There's no world in which we ever retire.
Exactly.
That's just people like us. That doesn't happen.
Yeah. So it's about learning to enjoy the process, and when you do something you enjoy, like working in your business, I think we all love that. So it makes it even better.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, it's so funny. I know so many guys that have, like, even uncles and, you know, people in the family that they've retired and then they've come out of retirement to go do something else, or they've retired and they've retired from their career, but now they're going into more of a, you know, an investment kind of route where they're looking for other businesses to invest in, and still be a part, because that entrepreneurial spirit doesn't just go away. It's not, we don't just do it, we don't just break our backs for a paycheck. Like, that's not what this is
at all. Because we love it.
We do it because we love it. We do it because it's fun. We do it because it gives us purpose.
I heard this story, this guy named Nate Schmidt, he's a e-commerce business owner. He was talking about how he had his first profitable store. He was making hundreds of thousands of dollars a month, you know, a lot of profit. And he's like, all right, I'm set now. I'll just go to New Zealand, go on a vacation. And when he was in New Zealand for many weeks, he realized he hates, like, just vacation, you know. He wanted to get back to working on business so much because that's what he got fulfillment from, and serving customers and creating.
Exactly. And I think the key difference, and this is where I say that as a company, you know, eventually I would really like to get away from clients.
Yeah.
There's as much as we enjoy working with our clients and enjoy doing things, there's a level of stress that comes with that. There's a level of pressure that comes with that. The key difference with our internal stuff is that that's not really there. Like, we don't have to worry about the stress of performing for somebody else.
We're on our own schedule.
Right, exactly. We're on our own schedule. We're on our own sort of growth mode. We have it all by the balls ourselves, right?
Yeah.
We can steer it how we want. We can quash it when we want.
Exactly.
We can, that's what makes the whole thing a little more different. And that's where I can relate to people that go into retirement and then come out of it to go do their own thing, because it's less about dislocating from work and more about dislocating from pressure and stress and anxiety and stuff like that. That's more, I think, what that looks like. And man, I mean, to me, everything that we're doing right now is such a dream for me, because I've always been kind of a lone ranger a little bit. Like, I'm a super social guy, but I've very much been like, hey, I wanna work for myself, and I just want to work for myself. I don't want to be responsible to anybody, including employees. And that kind of changed very quickly and very organically over the past year. And I'm so grateful for what we have right now, because, you know, we have it's not just about being a team. We have I feel like we're all kind of buddies in here, which I really, really like. I like that. I like that feeling. I'm a very buddy kind of guy. Like, I love.
It's peer to peer.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. It's not like
It's not like you're a manager at the store managing,
right,
employees telling us what to do.
Exactly. I mean, there is a level of that.
There is.
But to a very, very small degree. I mean, again, you're 19 years old. You've never worked a real corporate job, so you don't know how it could be.
Yeah.
So you got it pretty damn good here, kid.
Yeah.
But,
I'm grateful for that.
But no, I mean that's the thing, and the more that you guys continue to do what you're doing and continue to prove, I don't want to say your worth, but prove that you're worth what we're sort of investing in you in. Exactly. To me, it's not about fulfilling certain hour requirements, and that's not what it's about. We use those boundaries because I think boundaries are good. That's not what it's about.
No.
At the end of the day, I know that you're tinkering at night at home. Like I know you are. So I'm not, when Aden comes in late, I'm not like, Aden's slacking.
Yeah.
The reason I get on Aden if he's late is because I make everybody else be here at a certain time. So there's that. But it's not about performing based on an employee handbook.
No.
And that's no good for anybody.
Yeah, and I love that because I think it creates an environment that I don't want to say gives me so much freedom, but it allows
autonomy.
Autonomy. It allows me to just like what I did with Nurture Bed when I first started it. It allowed me to just dive in and figure it out and basically get it started so that we can all work on it.
Exactly, and that's really where it starts to get fun. So y'all will hear a whole lot more about Nurture Bed in the coming weeks and months. Aden is probably going to do some Fortune Freedom University episodes, probably, and which is our other show, which is a little bit more direct education, direct advice, etc. This is more of a conversational handle. If anybody listening out there is interested in being a part of Fortunes and Freedom, our e-commerce program, that is something that we do have available. You can send us an email anytime. The email address should be in wherever you're watching this or listening to this. The email address will be in there, but it's joe@jmichaelconsult.com. Shoot me a message. Let me know that you're interested. We love working with guys like Aden. If you feel like you've got the sort of Aden edge, but you need the support of a team around you, you're looking for some investment in ad spend.
And just sorry to interrupt. Just to point in on that. When I was doing all my business stuff by myself, I didn't have any accountability. So I would go into this, get super obsessed, and burn out.
Yeah.
And I think this is a lot of process, or the same cycle a lot of other people starting out just like I did go through. And once I started working with a team, once I had to show up to a team every day, that forced accountability on me, and that I'm the most consistent I've ever been in my life right now, and
that's
I love
awesome.
that. So,
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Be like Aden. So if that's something that interests you, please send me an email, and we'll have a chat. Otherwise, thank you so much for listening, everybody that's out there. Please go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Also turn on your notifications so that anything that we post, you'll get notified on. We post about twice a week, maybe more. You can also jump on Instagram. We're at Fortunes Freedom. Some other morons got Fortunes and Freedom. So at Fortunes Freedom is where you will find us for a little bit more candid daily content. And hey, drop us a comment if you've got anything, positive or negative. If they're negative, we'll definitely delete them. And
we don't delete comments here. Authentic.
That's right, authentic. We'll
respond to them. We'll
I was gonna say we'll have a spirited debate. That's all.
Exactly.
Well, thank you guys so much for listening, and we'll catch you next time.
Thank you guys, and thank you, Joe, for having me on the podcast.
Dude, thank you so much for being here. That was a lot of fun.
Awesome.
We'll see you guys later.